You're listening to Business Buzz, the official podcast of King's Business Club, the largest business and finance society in London.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to Business Buzz with me, Alex. In this episode, I'm thrilled to be joined by Global Management Trainee at Budweiser Brewing and King's alumni, Jacques Meldrum. Firstly, I'd like to say on behalf of King's Business Club and KCL, we are delighted to welcome you back to King's. And I, for one, am excited for the opportunity to speak to you today.
Thank you.
So I'd just like to start with some general questions about yourself, your academic background, and also some of the internships you've had in the past. You've got a very interesting history. So I'd like to hear something about those experiences and what led you to the position you're at now.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I mean, well, look, thanks so much again for having me. It's great to be back. I'm afraid I can't be there with you in person on campus, but great to be back speaking to you guys at the King's Business Club, an organisation that I know well from my time at King's. In terms of my background, I was enrolled to study politics at King's, and that was my academic background after finishing school. So I was on a 3-year bachelor's at the Department of Political Economy. That was my academic background. I finished that July last year, or July this year, actually. It feels like a year ago. But in terms of my professional background, with respect to the internships and things like that, I think, you're probably right in saying that I've had quite a different range of experience to what most of your listeners looking to go into a multinational organisation might have had. But I think part of that is why I ended up where I have today, because of that experience. So I started out probably at 15, 16. I did some work for an MP. I was living in the UK and I moved back to Australia. Part of where I'm from, I'm half English, half Australian. I moved back to Australia at 15, 16, and I ended up doing some work for a local MP there for a bit, who actually today just became the finance minister of the state that I'm from, funnily enough. But started there doing that. I then had some experience working at a number of WPP group consultancies. So I did some time working for a group called Barton Deakin, who are a political consultancy, one of Australia's top political consultancies looking at government affairs, consulting work for large multinationals, NGOs, and a number of industry lobbying groups. That was a short stint I did there. After that, my next real experience was at British American Tobacco after I finished school, when I turned 18. So that would have been probably about 4 years ago now, 4 years ago. And I worked in their legal and external affairs team as an intern on their engagement with the World Health Organization and their work there. And then more recently, I've done some work in project management, working for a small startup called Asia Insight Circle based out of Hong Kong, led by an incredibly talented man by the name of Walter Jennings, a former PR guru at Huawei, obviously a rather big job. And I was helping him organise an event in Ekaterinburg in Russia, a UN Global Dialogue event in association with, of all people, the Boris Yeltsin Foundation. So, yeah, it's definitely been a varied journey, and it's gone from different places. And I don't think, looking back at my cumulative internship experience, there was much coherency to it. It was sort of taking the opportunities I could get and learning what I could from them. And they in turn shaped my decision to come and work at Budweiser Brewing Group and AB InBev.
Yeah. When I was looking through your LinkedIn, and it's a really interesting set of experiences to read. And what I was most interested about was you followed this template of sort of public affairs. You worked at British American Tobacco. It was government and policy. So did you ever feel like that was your only route? What made you want to sidestep that and come into management?
No, I never I never at any point felt that by doing that, it was a case of that's you sorted, you're now a policy wonk or a public affairs staffer or a government staffer or anything of that nature. I actually strongly felt that that was experience that would help me in a management scenario. Lots of that job is research, analysis, dealing with people, stakeholder engagement, which are all critical skills that I'm now using day to day, and I think any business leader would be using, as you go up the food chain. But yeah, no, it was never a case of feeling I'm now stuck in this silo, and that's part of the reason I applied to AB InBev, to the graduate programs we have, because we openly advertise that we're not looking for any one particular background. I've got people who I'm on the graduate program with backgrounds in chemical engineering, some in management, some in psychology. There's a whole range of different backgrounds that are being actively recruited by us. So yeah, no, never felt that way actually.
Yeah. So you mentioned that a lot of the opportunities that you found were ones that you just came across and accepted because they were interesting opportunities. That's such a great way to think about taking opportunities instead of following a narrow path to a career that you see 5 years down the line. Yeah. You just find opportunities and you take them. Was this one of them, this graduate program, or was it something that you had thought about beforehand?
Look, had you asked me 2-3 years ago that, where do you think you'll be working in 3 years' time, I probably wouldn't have been able to give you a definitive answer in terms of where I would like to be working. I probably could have given you 2 or 3 companies, and AB InBev was at top of that list. So I was very lucky in the sense that I got my first choice when I was applying, and it's one I certainly don't regret. And so, look, it was a case of taking the opportunity, but in a lot of ways you make your own luck, and you just fall into things really. But you do make your own luck in the sense that you apply and you look deeply into the company you're working for in the respect of making sure the cultural affinity is there. You feel a connection to the product. You feel a connection to what the company stands for and what it's trying to do. And so I feel that, it was, part of me thinks it was just the right fit. And that was certainly the case in the impression I received and have been receiving in my first 2 months at the organisation.
Yeah. So specifically to that then, what were some of the experiences and benefits that you felt that were different to some of your previous experiences? Because I understand they must have been very similar in their topic, I guess. But what about the way that this experience benefited you? Did you feel you learned more in terms of skills, and how did you feel about it?
In terms of the program I'm on now at Budweiser?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. I think the beauty of the program that I'm on, and just for the benefit of your listeners, I'm a GMT, so a Global Management Trainee. I'm on the GMT program. We have a number of graduate programs, which we'll be talking about later and obviously in more detail at the event. But I think the thing that stands out for me about ABI amongst all the other employers I've dealt with in the recruitment process is it's not rhetoric. It's not just talk of you will take ownership and you will, you'll have the opportunity to make an impact. It's real, and it's incredible the amount of trust and faith that senior leadership put in graduates who have just, many of whom have just walked out of university to make a real impact and to give them the opportunity to take ownership of a situation. And that's how our our program works. I'll come to that later on. But the trust and the belief and the availability of people all across the company at regardless of geography, regardless of hierarchy within the company, is huge. And that's been very, very impressive to me. That this is not a company where interns are making coffee and, doing a run for tea. We're not like that at all as an organisation. And that for me is something that I found to be particularly attractive.
Yeah, and I can resonate with that as well. I think when I think of an organisation, Although there are instances where you get your foot in the door and then you need to work your way up. You don't get into a senior position immediately. But I think the modern way of working is that you get that discretion. You're allowed to use your creativity to be able to make an impact. And I can resonate with that a lot. So moving on now, I'd like to hear about AB InBev and exactly what its purpose is. I mean, we know Budweiser is beer, is the world's largest brewer, as I'm aware. And they make beer for Stella, Corona. I can see them on your screen behind you. Apart from the obvious, what is its purpose, and what are the sort of different roles within the organization?
It's a big question, and we're setting out to do a lot of things. We've just had a new CEO come into the organisation as of July, and he's laid out a number of big bets that we are planning to achieve and driving to achieve over the next couple of years. So sort of in the medium term, and some of those things include staying true to our 10 core principles. So dreaming big is huge for us as an organisation. Our former CEO, Carlos Brito, who we had for over a decade, always said that, if you're going to dream, you might as well dream big, because it takes the same amount of energy to dream big or small. So you might as well make it a decent dream. And I love that, because I think it sums up exactly what we're about. And our history proves that, by dreaming big, over the past 15 years, we've obviously ascended to become the world's largest brewer, and that has been primarily driven by our ambition to dream big, take ownership, and put our customers first. And so on that side, I think that's what sets us apart from others in the industry. As well, our belief in our people. We consistently believe that we work best in teams and that our people are our biggest asset. And I think that's incredible for an organisation to make that bold statement, and that is something that is front and centre of the recruitment process. And I feel it now, 2 months into the job, being 21, first role in the company. You are you as an individual, you are our biggest assets, and so that, I think, is really what drives us as an organisation.
Yeah, and that's really interesting to hear, actually. So I'd like to move on just to hear about where you are then. You said it's your first role in the company, you're a graduate. So
that's correct.
I'd like to hear some more about this graduate program, because I know we mentioned it earlier. Let's shed some light on exactly what it entails and what your roles and responsibilities are. Yeah,
sure. I mean, here at ABI, we are AB InBev is the global holding company, but in the UK, our operating company is Budweiser Brewing Group, who I'm employed by. We're a part of Anheuser-Busch InBev. We have a number of graduate programs. I am on the Global Management Trainee program, so the GMT program. And that program is a wide-ranging, multifunctional one-year program that basically moves on a series of rotations that pushes you through different areas of the business before next year, when I finish the program, in about 10 months' time, I think it'll be, a bit more than that, actually. But when the program finishes, you are then moved into a junior managerial position. And so the idea being, you have the opportunity to see different facets of the business. You see supply, you see how we brew the beer, you see how we sell the beer in sales. There are 2 other opportunities for virtual projects across our zone in Europe or in the UK, working in different support functions, as well as opportunities to visit our zone headquarters in Leuven in Belgium, the home of Stella Artois, and also our global there will be a global GMT event in March at our Budweiser brewery in St. Louis, Missouri. So we're heading over there, and all the GMTs will be coming together for that, for training and a global event there. So that's our GMT program, which is what I'm on. We've then got the Supply Management Trainee program, which is essentially a more supply-centric program looking at, looking at how we brew our beer. Essentially. So focusing more on the supply chain side of the business than anything else. Obviously, the name sort of sums it up. And then along with that, we've then got the Marketing Visionaries program, so the MVP program. And that, contrary to the supply program, is more looking at the sales side of the business, so how we sell the beer. And both of those programs, as well as the GMT program, provide a host of incredibly exciting opportunities. All of them are putting front and centre the idea of getting involved, putting you in uncomfortable situations where you're having to challenge yourself, develop as an individual and a leader, and take ownership of the situations you're in to deliver results. So no matter what program you apply to at AB InBev, and I would strongly encourage everyone to do so, we do recruit on a first come, first served basis, and we do get thousands of applicants every year, if not tens of thousands. So I would strongly encourage everyone to apply as soon as they can if that sort of project sounds, or that sort of role rather, sounds like something that might interest them.
Yeah, and we'll give more details in the description and at the end of how people can get involved with these different programs. But you see, you're clearly very passionate about this program and about this company. So I know you said you've got 10 months left, so you're still at the very beginning of this program. But what are the areas that excited you the most, or that you think you will be most strong at and most excited about in the next 10 months?
You know, had you asked me that question 2 months ago, I would have given you a very bog standard answer. I think I'll go best in marketing and sales. It would have been a fairly simple conversation. I probably would have ended there. But what I've come to realise with Budweiser and ABI more broadly is that as an organisation, we're not an organisation that necessarily silos you. So you don't start in marketing and sort of work your way up through that silo. The opportunities to move throughout the business are incredible. And I think what we're more concerned about is developing skills as opposed to or developing technical skills that allow you to be versatile and move across the business. So proficiency in things like Power BI, for example, something I hadn't heard of until I joined ABI, is one good example of something. That's a skill that I could use regardless of whether I go into marketing, I go into HR, I go into legal and corporate affairs. It's about, I think the way we progress people is based on skills, what skills they have, as opposed to where they are, where they're best suited to their here because, they like marketing and so I've sort of come to embrace that. I think I'm not really sure. I'm only in my first project. I haven't had time yet to fully understand and scope out what the different functions are like. So yeah, I'll be honest, I'm not going to be able to give you a decent answer there. Yeah. It's hard to say. Come back in a few months.
Yeah, I'm sure I could come back and we could have this conversation every couple of months and you could give me a completely different answer.
But
it's exciting,
probably.
Right? Because you're learning things you didn't know before. And Correct. I'm sure if I was to join this organization, I would learn most things would probably be brand new to me, I think. And that's the exciting part. But what I really liked about what you said there was looking beyond this company and beyond organizations. And it's about using the skills that you have and matching things that you think you would be good at through your skill set, as opposed to following a template and trying to acquire the knowledge that way. And I think especially for first year students who they look at their career, let's say finance, they want to go into banking. They think they constantly want to follow, they want to do accounting and finance and just stay within these tracks. Yeah. And as you said, it's that silo thinking. Just as a piece of advice then, because I mean, you're young as well, you're at the beginning of your graduate journey, but I think you've got the mindset because you spoke about some of these experiences as skill acquiring, and you take these opportunities in different areas too. So would you have any advice for, it doesn't have to be specific, just maybe a piece of advice for like first years or even myself as a third year, as to how we can feel confident in navigating different areas and how we can present ourselves with our skills as opposed to just experience on paper?
Yeah. I mean, I think my career or short career thus far is a testament to the idea that, companies aren't looking for what job you've done in the past. They're looking for the skills that you've acquired and the capabilities that you have. And so the notion that obviously, if you want to become a lawyer, you need to study the law. If you want to become a doctor, you need to study medicine. But in terms of other professional corporate and business enterprises, I don't think there is, at least anymore, a clear-cut route to a graduate position at a good company that values its people and recognises potential. And that's certainly the case with ABI. I think instead what you'll find is that the focus on building your skills and your understanding of how people work together, how businesses function, how, the day-to-day goes on, how the bottom line is made, I think is fundamental. As I keep telling myself, during this graduate program, I'm here to learn as well as lead and as I can and play a part where I can in taking ownership of projects. But at the end of the day, I need to learn how we brew our beer and how we sell our beer. Fundamentally, that's what it boils down to. And there's a whole heap of skills that'll go into that. But those skills are what will serve me best, regardless of whether I go into legal and corporate affairs, people, or sales. Doesn't really matter. It's those skills that matter. So my advice would very simply be, don't think because you're studying finance you need to go and work for one of the big four accounting firms. You don't. It's not something that needs to happen. It's not a fait accompli. There are other options out there, and I would strongly encourage everyone to look at that. I think looking back at my time at King's, I think there is a heavy pull towards the city and those industries that support it, whether it's, the audit firms, whatever, the consultancies. But there are other opportunities out there, and we are companies like ABI, but certainly ABI for certain, are looking for people who are hungry and are ready to be pushed outside of their comfort zones and to take ownership of that situation and to dream big.
Yeah, I think that's great advice. And from what I've heard in my experiences is that companies are just looking for a desire to learn. If you're open to learn and you're willing to work hard for that company, providing that your values align with theirs, I think that's all that's really required. And I think that should be, I think first years and third years like myself should really take that and consider that quite strongly, because you don't need to follow a path just because what you've done in the past would allow that, because you may want to wander off to some other field, and that's absolutely fine and encouraged too, like you said. So I was going to ask you what your plans are in terms of a role upon completion of this program, but that's something I think, as we've spoken about, you can't answer right now. Which is that exciting, or are you nervous about the fact you just don't know?
I'm very excited about that. To be honest, I haven't got time to worry about that right now. I've got lots to do in my current position, lots to learn, lots of people to talk to and hear from. So, there's no time to get ahead of ourselves. We've seen over the past 2 years how much the world can change overnight. I mean, we didn't have Facebook yesterday, so the world's coming to an end for all we know.
Well, I think that was a testament to how it didn't really matter that much whether we had the social media yesterday. People thought the world was going to fall apart. Turns out it's still here. So take from that what you will.
I've been told. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, look, I would just say the other thought I had is enjoy your time at university. It will fly by. It will just disappear before your eyes. So make the most of the opportunities to learn, to meet people, go to events, including the event coming up at the King's Business Club that will be bringing together ABI and the KBC later in the month. That would be my advice. Go to events and enjoy your time at uni as well. Yeah.
So on events then, I'd like to give the opportunity to present the event with KBC. So what you aim to achieve with the event, how it will work in terms of format, and then finally who should attend and who it's appropriate for.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's something I'm super excited about. It's something I've had the privilege as part of my program as a campus ambassador of having the opportunity to organise. And the KBC were a natural partner for doing an event where we have the opportunity to talk about our graduate programs, but also some of the stuff and the incredible initiatives we're taking in the sustainability space, which is something that I personally believe really is quite incredible and is something that doesn't get the attention it deserves. So in terms of what that will look like, our event is going to be looking at how, as an organisation, ABI are brewing a better future. And what we mean by that is the the initiatives we'll be taking both in the UK and Ireland, but also globally. Excuse me. And we've got our head of procurement and sustainability, Mauricio, who's an incredibly intelligent guy, who spearheads those initiatives here for us in the UK and Ireland in our BU West business unit, coming in to talk on that and talk about some of the just crazy, amazing stuff we're doing. People wouldn't know that every beer we brew in the UK is brewed with renewable energy, and that in our breweries. Yeah, and that we have 2 solar farms and don't quote me on this, but it might be the world's largest wind turbine in terms of the actual length of the blade. I saw it last week. It is massive. And so we're doing some absolutely fantastic things on sustainability that clearly demonstrate how sustainability to us, it's not just a commitment, it's our business. And that's why we take it so seriously, and we're dreaming big here as well in terms of making big bets on some of the stuff we want to achieve.
Yeah, I didn't know that. That's actually a really interesting fact. Excuse me. So who will be at the event then, in terms of what can students expect when they attend the event?
Yeah, so it'll be an event with Mauricio obviously talking about the sustainability initiatives we're taking on, and I would strongly encourage anyone, regardless of whether they've ever tasted a beer in their life or not, to come along and hear about that, because as you would clearly demonstrating, very few people know about the initiatives that we're taking, and some of the stuff we're doing is absolutely incredible. So anyone with an interest in corporate sustainability initiatives, or how multinationals are managing to play a part in, our global drive for sustainability, driven by things like the SDGs, I would strongly urge them to come along and hear. Same goes for anybody interested in a career in that space, whether it's on the corporate side, an NGO, government policy making, etc. I think it's a no-brainer to come along to that. Similarly, I think anyone interested in our company as a whole, or the industry we're in, as the world's largest brewer, should definitely attend. It's not just an opportunity to talk about sustainability, but also the opportunities and vacancies we have available on this year's graduate program, which I will stress again is first come, first serve. Who should attend the event? I think anyone with an interest in sustainability and how that space interacts with the corporate world should absolutely get involved with the event. I think some of the stuff a lot of multinationals, but particularly our organisation, is doing to try and contribute to the global drive to increase our commitment to the planet it's huge, and it's undervalued, and it's under advertised in my view. So anyone with an interest in that should definitely come along. Naturally, anyone with an interest in the programs that we have on offer, whether it's GMT, SMT or MVP, should absolutely come along and get involved. We will be including that actively in our presentation. And of course, we'll be able to take any questions and point you in the right direction with any concerns or queries you may have. Both myself and senior leaders from the people and culture team who are dedicated to running the incredible program that I'm currently on, as well as the MVP and SMT. And so any questions there, that'd be the place to ask them. And similarly, I think anyone, going back to those people who think that the world is limited to finance and consulting because of their degree should come along. I don't think you should limit yourselves to certain silos. I would absolutely encourage anyone who's looking at a future career and might not be certain about where they want to go to come and have along. And then the obvious one is anyone who loves beer. Yeah,
that's a good way to end that. I'd like to ask you one final question before I wrap up.
Of course.
And it's probably the most important question, and that is your favorite beer. What is your favorite beer? Assuming you're a beer drinker, of course.
I am a beer drinker. Obviously, I think there's a whole range of choice with over 500 brands in our portfolio globally. But I was having this debate with someone yesterday. I can't decide between, where is it? Here, Corona and Modelo, another one of our Mexican beers. I can't make up my mind. I think it's Modelo. Usually I say it's Modelo now. I'm a big fan of a Modelo. So
yeah, I like Corona. I don't think I've tried Modelo actually.
We do have it in the UK, so if you can pick it up, I would certainly recommend you try some.
I'll have a try. Yeah, I think my favorite would probably be an IPA, maybe a Brewdog IPA. I'm sure that's not in your portfolio, maybe.
That's not the answer I wanted, mate. You need to go and buy some Goose Island. That's the good stuff. That's where you need to be.
I'll bear that in mind. And everyone who's listening, make sure you go and buy some Modelo, some Goose Island, and Corona. Yes. You can't beat a Corona if you're not a heavy beer drinker.
Can't beat a Corona or Camden, a London lager, another incredible brand with some awesome history behind it. Started in a pub in North London, and now it's grown to be London's favourite lager. So there you go.
Yeah, well, I'm going to finish there then.
Alex.
Just in terms of how people can get involved on our end, if you can't find any information about where to get involved yet, don't worry. You can follow us on Instagram and make sure that you keep updated with our posts. There'll definitely be information regarding that soon. Absolutely. Also, jump on our website to the news and events section, and it'll be there as soon as it's released. So if you have any questions, you can send us a DM on Instagram or email us, and we'll provide you information regarding how to get involved. So that's that. Thank you very much, Jacques, for joining me today. It's been a really, really
Thanks for having me, Alex.
Yeah, and you're welcome back to King's anytime.
Thank you.
Yeah, I congratulate you on your program and good luck.
Cheers, thank you.
We'll catch up soon and see how you get on.
I hope to see you on what should be Monday the 25th is what we're looking for the event, but that's being confirmed imminently. So hope to see you there, mate.
Yeah, will do. See you there, man.
All right. Cheers. Thanks, Alex.